going home and watching episode 3 right after filming all these videos. Hey there. So the Christmas season was a wee bit busy for me, and I was not able to get all my videos filmed, so I'm going to try and rush through a few right now. And I'm going to start with talking about everything I absolutely loved about the Percy Jackson adaptation, just everything about it. Okay, so there was actually a lot that I loved about it. And if I talked about every little thing, this is going to be like a 40, 50-minute video, something like that. So let's just stick to, some of the bigger stuff that I really enjoyed. First of all, I gotta say, the casting, pretty great. I mentioned when I saw the trailer, I thought the casting was pretty great. To be honest, I'm always a little worried when it's child actors that it's going to feel a little stiff, for lack of a better word. Um, it didn't feel too stiff at all. It felt pretty decent. I know that at least some of the actors have prior experience acting, so that probably helped with it. It was almost kind of like when I saw Logan. I wasn't expecting much from Laura, and the actress playing Laura really delivered. So, kind of like that. Overall, I thought that it was pretty good. it Oh my gosh, just one little scene when Luke called Annabeth his sister. It really got to my heart. It's been a while since I really read the entirety of The Lightning Thief. I started rereading it over NaNoWriMo. I only got, 5 chapters in, I want to say. I don't remember Luke ever actually calling Annabeth his sister. Like, I knew they were close. Obviously, they are close. But just seeing him call her his sister was just really cute. Also, Percy's archery scene. I'm just so glad they added in little things for people that were already fans. Because, like, anyone that's read the book, as soon as they saw Percy get a bow and arrow in his hand, we all knew we were in for a good laugh. And yeah, because, oh, I just am thinking about Percy with arrows. He, oh, he has no skill with a bow and arrow at all. The way they kind of changed Annabeth a little bit to make her a bit more of I guess an enigma in the beginning, I really enjoyed. I feel like Leah really like went through with that and it hit really well. I enjoyed watching her kind of just like staring at Percy, just watching him because that feels like a very Annabeth thing almost. Like just it shows her studying everything because that's who she is. She studies everything all the time. And I actually want to talk about Annabeth's eyes real quick because it was just such a subtle thing that I picked up on that I really love. Now, there are a lot of people online talking about how important Annabeth's eyes are, and they are right for the wrong reasons. A lot of people are saying, like, she has to have gray eyes, and, like, why couldn't she just wear contacts, which Rick stated, like, stuff like hair dye and contacts were not going to be forced upon children. So, like, respect his wishes and also respect actors' boundaries, especially child actor boundaries. But to refocus, her eyes are kind of important in the book. She's described as having calculating eyes. And Leah delivers on that. I don't know if a lot of you even picked up on it, but she does a lot of acting with just her eyes. And it is so subtle and so, like, true to the character. Every time she's in a scene, you can see her putting pieces together and forming hypotheses, and it's it was just really interesting. I pointed out because again, I was not expecting a lot from child actors. I was expecting to have to accept that it wouldn't be the best acting, but then just being hit with that, the whole like subtle acting really was just. And yeah, these actors are good and like better than I have prepared myself for. So I am going to just fawn all over this acting because these kids are skilled at their art. I just have to say that in my personal opinion. But let's get into what I think is one of the best additions to the whole episode that wasn't in the books, but it was perfect and it got the characters so well. And that was Percy's interaction with Mr. D, and Mr. D trying to convince Percy that he's his father just so he can get alcohol. And it's a perfect little tweak that they did, in which instead of like in the first chapter that we meet Dionysus, he summons a goblet of wine, and Chiron reminds him of his prohibition. I feel like that's the wrong word, but it's close enough. Prohibition from alcohol, and he switches it to a Diet Coke. But in this one, he cannot get it for himself. He needs a demigod to go and get it, which works with the story they're trying to tell, especially with the gods can't just like steal each other's like stuff, like the Master Bolt, or I can't get into other stuff because I don't want to spoil this for anybody else that's watching it. But like, it's just a cute little add-on. It is a perfect little thing, and just oh my gosh, the scene with those two interacting and Percy just trying to like be like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting my dad and he cares nothing about me. He just wants a drink, which I think would have hit home a little harder if they showed Gabe as the alcoholic he is, because if you've read the books, Percy has essentially grown up with an abusive alcoholic stepfather. And so I feel like they could have kept that in, because a lot of Percy's discomfort when meeting Mr. D for the first time was the fact that he was an alcoholic and Percy could tell, and it kind of scared him. Like, he was scared to be around an alcoholic because of the trauma he had experienced. So I feel like that could have been a nice additional tie-in, but you know, it's how they went with the story, and the whole scene in of itself was just, you know, you know, I really enjoyed it. Just, oh my gosh, and Grover being like, what? No, no. And Chiron just being like, you aren't his father. I could be. Are you? No. Like, I really like this Dionysus, and I like this Percy, and I like this Annabeth, and I like this Luke and Grover, and you know, oh, we gotta get into Luke. They really did Luke right, I feel like. He has this aura of Camp Big Brother still that I like. I really feel that, even if we haven't seen him interact with a lot of people. It's kind of sitting there, and that's just perfect for his character because he is the Camp Big Brother. And I think that kind of just comes down to the fact that, one, he's probably the oldest demigod there. In the books, he's 19. I think he might actually be a little younger in the series. I don't know how old the actor is, but I think he's actually a little younger in the TV show. And so, being the oldest one there, and then he already has like this charismatic personality that it's just so like charismatic. I don't know how to describe it. Also, one of my biggest fears, and I've mentioned this before, I think, if not on here, on another social media app, I really was worried about the CGI. Not because it would look bad now, but when we go forward, you know, move on, get better advancements in technology, we're going to look back and be like, yeah, that's cheesy, that's not good, but it looks promising. Not the CGI, but the lack of it. Like, there's definitely CGI in this. If you haven't seen it yet, 100% there is CGI, but there's a scene where Grover is interacting with a nymph, a dryad particularly, I believe, and she isn't a CGI monster. She is an actor done up in special effects makeup. So my hope going forward is that there is going to be a lot of practical effects. It would actually be amazing if ooh, I don't want to okay, like, I'm going to like just put my hand like this, and when it's down, then anyone who hasn't read the books knows that we're free from spoilers. Okay, so if this is up, there's going to be spoilers. Just skip past it, because I don't know how to add the skip feature. All right. I would really love it if Medusa was practical effects. If they just put on a wig that had like a remote control attached to it, like someone off screen is moving all the snakes, that would be utterly amazing. Okay, our non-book people can come back. I just I really think that this is some good groundwork that they have laid down, and I'm really excited for it all. Another show only scene that I really liked was Percy giving a sacrifice to his mom. Especially to that sacrifice was the candy that she had given him, which even just in the show alone, that was very strong and very personal because that was definitely something his mom had given him and gave her a connection. And it's even more powerful if you've read the books because you know what blue candy symbolizes to Percy and how it's an act of defiance. And he started a little fire and he sacrificed it to talk to his mom, not even one of the gods who you're supposed to do it, because who cares about the gods? It was for Sally Jackson, his mom. And oh my gosh, when he said the scene, Sally Jackson is my mother, and just, not caring about his father being beside him because his mother is the most important thing. And oh my gosh, I love their relationship. When Percy sacrificed a piece of blue candy, it felt very like in the heart, like that was such an emotional scene for me to see him just take something that was one of the last things he had of his mom, who, as far as he was aware, is dead, and just, yeah, it was a really heartwarming moment. Of course, the camp shirts are amazing. I'm not wearing mine right now. I've already worn it for too many videos, I'm sure. I really like the camp shirts and just camp in general. The camp was breathtaking. It was utterly beautiful. There were places that weren't even mentioned in the book, like that little like bridge thing. That was just a perfect add-on. It was beautiful. I loved it. It felt amazing. I loved it all. I loved the cabins. The cabins looked great. Everything looked amazing. I really, really liked it. There's a lot of little things that I really liked. I don't want to make this video too long, though, so I'm trying to keep it compact. I feel like Nancy Boba Fett was done really well. Her mocking of Percy was really good. I actually had trouble writing that for myself because just writing mean characters has always been hard for me. So, I have inspiration to draw from now. Now, there are a few things that clearly, from the first two episodes, we know have been moved around a little bit. So there's stuff that happened early in the novel I really want to happen that I think will eventually happen. They're just going to be moved to a later spot. I don't really want to give away too much, just something simple like the beads. I want those to be discussed more, which they were earlier in the novel. But they will almost certainly, and I think I have an idea of what they're going to do with that. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. One thing I did notice that I found interesting was in the bathroom scene, instead of having Clarice's sisters, one of them was a brother, which was pretty interesting to me because there's no brother in the original series. It's possible that this brother is meant to be Sherman, who is in a later series, or just a random other brother that was never mentioned. Personally, I don't think Sherman would have been around during the Lightning Thief, considering that he isn't mentioned at all for a lot of books. But it's possible they just wanted to add him in or give her another sibling, because we don't know every camper at Camp Half-Blood. It's possible that there was only like 5 kids in the Aries cabin and they're all daughters. It's possible that Clarice has a brother that just never got brought up. So I'm not really sure who he's supposed to be, but I'm very sure that we won't know more about him and he'll only be a background character because, one, there's only 8 episodes. We don't have time to introduce characters that weren't in the story to begin with. And two, we're probably already going to cut characters. And that's just a fact of life. But that's not a problem. Sometimes characters have to be cut or combined. Sometimes new characters are created to fill in a plot gap. That one I'm a little iffy about sometimes. Sometimes I'm not. I mean, we are talking about the person who wanted to make Katie a supporting character rather than a minor character here. But, you gotta do what you have to do to translate it over to a television series. It's not going to be a perfect one-to-one translation. And to have little Easter eggs like Sherman showing up is kind of fun. And it's something that only the people that have read the novels would really notice. And to be honest, he doesn't really matter. Clarice's siblings don't really seem to matter. So it doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things who plays who. And people that are just watching the show are going to see these characters and think nothing. People have read the books will probably think nothing of the characters. One might go, oh, hey, there's that minor character from this book. So I did have a viewing party for the premiere, and it was fun. Everyone brought a bunch of Greek food, and we had blue M&Ms, blue and orange. I set up blue and orange M&Ms and blue popcorn, which sadly does not actually pop blue, but is delicious. I remember when we were watching it, and the tree was pointed out, Thalia's tree, and I just went, Thalia. My friend next to me said, quiet, spoilers. And it's like, oh yeah, there's one person here that has never read the books, because everyone had read the books except for this one person. I'm like, oh yeah, quiet. But I couldn't help myself. I saw Thalia's tree, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's Thalia! And I love Thalia! And you do pronounce it as Thalia. I wasn't sure, and I've been pronouncing it right all these years. It was kind of hard to be sure. People pronounced it both ways, because one, TH makes a th sound, but for another, the th sound does not exist in Greek, I believe. So it would have been Talia to Greek people. I think, at least. There's only a handful of languages that really use the thorn sound. The sound isn't called thorn, is it? That's just the letter. We're getting sidetracked here. Focus. Overall, despite some of the changes that were made, I find this to be a really good story, and I am going to enjoy this incarnation of Percy Jackson a lot. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go film another video and then stare at art of the TV show characters meeting the book characters for 5 hours, because that's my favorite type of art right now. So until next time, I will see you later.